stop for a second. How many thoughts have already run through your mind today? 10,000? 20,000? Now, how many of these thoughts were useful? And how many were just replaying the past, worrying about the future, or doubting yourself? If you're like most people, research shows that we think around 60,000 thoughts a day. That's 60,000 thoughts for our poor brains. And almost 80% of them are negative or repetitive. That's overthinking. And it's exhausting. But here's the truth. Overthinking isn't who you are. It's just a habit your brain has learned. And like any habit, you can unlearn it. In this video, I'm going to share 5 proven science-backed tools to stop overthinking. Each one comes with a clear explanation of the problem, a practical solution, one small thing you can try immediately, and the science behind why it works. And a really simple real-life example so you can see how to use it today. So you have ever found yourself lying awake at night replaying the same thoughts, or stuck at your desk thinking about everything except the task in front of you? Stick with me until the end, because by the time you finish this video, you'll have a toolkit of strategies you can use anytime and anywhere to quiet your mind. And if you're new to the channel, hi, my name is Ellie. I love having you here. Stay with me until the end and I will share some cool facts about overthinkers. They will cheer you up, I promise. Okay, let's dive into the 5 methods to stop overthinking. Method number 1 is this. Break the thought loop with the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 technique. The problem is this. When you're overthinking, it feels like you're stuck in a mental washing machine. You keep going over the same thoughts again and again, but you never actually get to a solution. Your brain is either stuck in the past, replaying something you said or did, or racing into the future, imagining worst-case scenarios that haven't even happened. So the more you think, the more anxious you feel. The more anxious you feel, the more you think. It's a cycle that feeds itself. And that's why overthinking feels so heavy and exhausting. One quick solution to this is the following. To break this cycle, you need to snap your brain out of autopilot and bring yourself into the present. One of the fastest ways to do this is the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 grounding technique. Instead of spinning in what-if scenarios, you anchor yourself in what actually is at the moment by focusing on what you can see, touch, hear, smell, and taste. You give your brain a clear signal. Right now I'm safe. Right now I'm here. So pause this video and try this one thing immediately. Look around you and name 5 things you can see, 4 things you can touch, 3 things you can hear, 2 things you can smell, and 1 thing you can taste. This technique works because it grounds you in your senses. Psychologists use it in stress and anxiety therapy because it calms the nervous system and interrupts the mental loop by forcing your brain to switch channels. And here's an example. One of my clients used to replay work conversations in her head for hours at night. Now, when the spiral starts, she sits up and runs 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Within 2 minutes, she's calmer and she's finally able to sleep without replaying every single word she has said during the day. That was method number 1. Here's the second method to stop overthinking. Method 2 is to literally schedule worry time in your calendar. This is important, and here is what I mean by that. The problem is that we try to stop overthinking by forcing ourselves not to worry. But when you push a thought away, your brain treats it as like unfinished business. It keeps bringing it back louder and louder. It's like someone saying, don't think about a pink elephant. And now all you can think about is a pink elephant. That's why telling yourself, don't worry, does not work. You're actually reinforcing the cycle. Does that make sense? So the solution is this. Instead of trying to erase a worry, we have to contain it. That's exactly what scheduling worry time does for us. You give your thoughts a set time slot each day, 15 minutes when you're allowed to write them all down. So during the day, when a worry shows up, you simply tell yourself, not right now. I'll think about it at 6 p.m. if that's when you scheduled worry time for. Then at 6 p.m., you sit down with your notebook, write your worries, and stop when the timer ends. This literally shifts control back to you. And most importantly, your mind learns that it doesn't need to stay in worry mode all day. So here's something you can try immediately. Pause the video and do this. Pick a time today, maybe 6 or 7 depending on your schedule. When a worry pops up, write it down and tell yourself, I'll think about this later. Then give it all your attention only at the scheduled time. And this is why this works. Research from Penn State University shows that scheduled worry reduces anxiety because it reassures your brain that the thought will be handled, so it doesn't need to keep interrupting you. A quick example, one of my viewers tried this during exam season. She carried a small notebook, wrote down her worries during the day, and gave them 15 minutes of attention in the evening. Within a week, she felt lighter and could actually focus on studying instead of worrying every hour of the day. If you're finding this helpful so far, hit the subscribe button so you don't miss future strategies like this one. And share the video with a friend who you know struggles with overthinking too. You could be giving them the tool that changes everything for them. It also helps spread the message to people who might need to watch the video today. That's great. Thank you. Okay, let's move on to method number 3. Method 3 is to use the 10-10-10 rule. Here is the problem with overthinking. Overthinking zooms you into the tiniest details until they feel absolutely huge. One small mistake feels catastrophic. One awkward conversation replays in your head like it defines your whole identity. Your brain exaggerates the importance of these small moments because it's wired to detect threats. That's why you feel overwhelmed. You've lost perspective. So when this happens, a good solution is to use the 10-10-10 rule. The 10-10-10 rule forces your brain to zoom back out and you ask yourself, will this matter in 10 minutes? Will this matter in 10 months? Will it matter in 10 years? By stretching your time horizon, you take the emotional intensity out of the present. Most worries shrink instantly when you see them in the context of your whole life. Does it make sense? So here is the one thing to try immediately. Take one thought you're stuck on and ask the 10-10-10 question. More often than not, you'll laugh when you realize that something eating you up, your mental energy, won't even matter in 10 months, let alone 10 years. This tool works because it activates the rational part of your brain, the prefrontal cortex, and calms the amygdala, which drives emotional overreactions. It's like pulling the camera back from a close-up setting to see the whole picture from a bird's eye view. For example, last week I obsessed for hours whether the presentation I sent to a client was to the point and whether it would do the work. Then I stopped and I asked, will this matter in 10 years? Obviously, the answer was no. And with that perspective, I just let it go. Moving on to method number 4. The fourth tool you can use is journaling. Literally, write it all out on a blank piece of paper. And here is why. The problem with overthinking is that it is like trying to juggle 50 balls in the air all at once. Your brain keeps circling the same thoughts because it doesn't know what to do with them. And the result is what? It is mental clutter. You feel overwhelmed, distracted, and unable to focus, running like a headless chicken in 10 different directions and not actually achieving anything. I speak from experience. On a bad day of overthinking, we achieve the least. And the solution for all of us here is simple. Get your thoughts out of your head and onto a piece of paper because journaling acts like a mental drain. Once the thoughts are written down, your brain can finally relax. It is super simple, and how many of us do this regularly? Once we dump our thoughts on a piece of paper, our brain no longer needs to hold on to every single detail because it knows that the thoughts are captured somewhere safe. Even better, writing helps you see more clearly. What feels massive in your head often looks very manageable once it's on the page. And what is even better once things are written down is that you can start spotting patterns, separate what's in your control from what isn't, and decide your next step with more clarity. So one thing to try immediately is this. Pause the video and spend 5 minutes now writing a brain dump. Put everything on paper without editing or filtering. Once that's done, circle the one thing from the list you can actually act on, and that is within your control. Studies show that excessive writing lowers stress and reduces rumination because it externalizes your thoughts. Your brain doesn't have to keep juggling them internally. For example, one woman that I coached had been stuck for months over whether to switch jobs. We wrote down everything, every single thought in her head. Once it was on paper, she realized her real fear was rejection. And as you have heard me saying this on my channel before, everything we want is on the other side of fear. For this particular client, seeing that fear was holding her back gave her the courage to actually apply. She didn't get that one job, but she was successful in the next application. Okay, great stuff. Let's move on to the fifth tool so you can use immediately to stop overthinking. Method number 5 is this. It's called cognitive diffusion. And all that means is creating space for yourself from your thoughts. The problem when you're overthinking is that every thought feels like the truth. We all do it. I will mess up. They don't like me. This is going to end badly. Your brain literally fuses with those words as if they're facts, the truth. And the more you believe them, the more power they have over you. The solution to this very destructive self-narrative is a proven technique from acceptance and commitment therapy, and it's what I mentioned earlier, cognitive diffusion. Instead of trying to fight or block thoughts, you must create space between you and your thoughts. By doing this, we learn to see thoughts for what they are. They're just words in our heads. They're not our reality. Here is one thing to try immediately. Next time you spiral, take the thought and add this phrase in front of it. I'm having the thought that ... So instead of thinking I'm not good enough, say out loud, I'm having the thought that I'm not good enough. This tiny shift literally breaks the spell. It reminds you that this is just a thought. I don't have to believe it. This works because research shows that diffusion reduces stress by separating you from your thoughts. It quiets the overactive mind because you stop treating thoughts as orders or facts and the truth. A quick example, a student I worked with used to panic before exams. Her mind would scream, you're going to fail. Instead, she started saying, I'm having the thought that I'm going to fail. Suddenly, the thought lost its grip on her. She could study calmly, knowing her mind was just throwing noise at her. Remember, 95% of what we worry about does not happen. Remind yourself this daily and you will absolutely thrive. So here's what I promised at the beginning of the video. 5 cool facts about people who tend to overthink. It's not all doom and gloom. Here are some great positives for people who tend to overthink due to our analytical nature. Here they are. Fact number 1. People who overthink are often more creative because our brains generate so many scenarios. Overthinkers are like natural idea machines. This mental overproduction can fuel creativity, storytelling, and problem solving when directed positively. Fact number 2. We are great at anticipating challenges. Overthinkers often run through what-if situations. While it can cause worry, it also means they're usually well prepared and less likely to be blindsided by problems. Fact number 3. Overthinkers tend to be empathetic. Spending so much time analyzing interactions makes overthinkers more sensitive to other people's feelings. They're often deeply caring friends, partners, and leaders. Fact number 4. They have strong attention to detail. Overthinkers notice the small things others miss. This makes us excellent in spotting patterns, refining work, and delivering thoughtful insights. Fact number 5. Overthinking energy can be redirected into action. The same mental horsepower that fuels worry can be used for planning, strategizing, and achieving goals. Once an overthinker learns to channel their thoughts, they often move faster and further than others. You see, there are plenty of positive for us too. Okay, let's recap what we've talked about today. Overthinking isn't about having too many thoughts. It's about not letting these thoughts run your life. Now you've got 5 tools to break free. The 5-4-3-2-1 grounding technique, schedule worry time, the 10-10-10 perspective, journal to create mental space, and cognitive diffusion, creative space from your thoughts. Each one works differently, but all of them give you the power to stop the spiral and refocus your beautiful mind. Try one today, notice how it feels, then come back and lay in on the others. And if you want even more strategies, watch this video on how to stop overthinking. It's linked here on the screen and in the description below. Remember, you're not your thoughts, you're the thinker. And you have the power to choose which thoughts to follow. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.